I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir.
Welcome back to CFB Nation. I am your host, Nino Brown. I will be filling in today for the governor of college football as him, Moon, Mikey. They're all out and about. They are on the ACC Media Day. I think they just touched down in Texas for Big 12 Media Day. So kudos to those guys. Me and Dino will be holding it down on this episode of Overreaction Monday. Dino, what's cracking?
Not much. Just trying to play catch up over this last week. This 4th of July week kind of took it out of me. Not gonna lie.
Oh, I think it took a lot out of everybody, except for Haynes Fassett, who's been putting out every post under the sun.
Oh, yeah.
God bless that man. We're gonna start off with a little rapid fire, and then we'll get into a couple of issues. I just want to maybe not issues, but some a couple of things touched on that I haven't really seen much touched about it, and I think the next section we're gonna talk about. I got a strong feeling about what Brendan Marion's doing over there in Sacramento State. But rapid fire. Real quick, who has a better 2025 season, CJ Carr or Horace Haney?
I'm going to start off saying I'm a huge Hoss Haney fan. I think he's got a tremendous upside, but I'm going Carr just because of all the weapons around him, sets him up for early success. I think deep down, though, Hoss Haney is auditioning for the next program.
Ooh, you think he's on the run?
Yeah, I think he moves to potentially get playing time, and then the next bigger program. Because he can't stay at Oklahoma State. He can't.
I agree. That should be school 3 though. So we'll just how we feel about that.
Dylan Gabriel got drafted.
Agreed. Who's gonna have a better 2025 season in the wide receiver room, Ryan Wingo or TJ Moore?
I'm gonna go TJ Moore just because him and Cade already have that chemistry kind of built from last season. Wingo played both with Arch and the other guy. I'm drawing a blank.
Quinn.
Yes, Quinn. So I think the early chemistry helps him get off to a quicker start.
I like it. I got a funny feeling that they lost a lot of guys in the wide receiver room. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm going your way this way, but it's very, very slim for me. I have a funny feeling that he could be Arch's guy. You know what I mean?
He could. He could. I solely just went off of first couple games, early success. Is why I went with Moore.
I would. All right, let's go. Breakout tight end in 2025. Layden Thomas or Brady Prescorn?
I went Brady Prescorn just because of the offense he's in. Michigan tight end, heavy offense. Brand new quarterback, whether it's Keene, Underwood. Feel like he's going to dump it down to the tight end safety blanket. So I went with Prescorn.
For the same reasons you went Prescorn, I'm going to go with Layden Thomas because Thomas Castellanos is putting it.
That may be as far as he could throw it.
Yeah, I watched him. He doesn't have the best arm to throw the ball deep. So tight end is your safety blanket. I got a funny feeling Layden Thomas is going to be this guy's number one, target early and often, and he's going to have the house coming at him. You can't run your mouth like that, my friend, after not being able to kind of back it up. AJ McCarron kind of put him out there on Front Street and was like, bro, you got benched.
Yeah.
You kind of got nowhere to talk right now. I don't understand what you're thinking. All right. Who has a higher win total in the MAC this season? Newcomer UMass or Bowling Green under new head coach Eddie George?
I hate to do this to you. I went BGSU. UMass only had 2 wins last year, and they were against FCS schools. And Eddie's bringing all his guys from Tennessee State, where he's a proven winner. So I went BGSU.
I don't blame you. I think that UMass can probably double that. I think they can get to 5 this year. They got some talent there, new head coach. They're building something over there. And the 2026 class is something else. They're just stacking. But I do believe that Eddie George, he's bringing his guys in there. He's got a plan. I think they're gonna have instant success over there this year. So
I think they could push for the title game.
I'm with it. Will Caden Veltkamp and Easton Mesner be the top QB wide receiver duo in Conference USA this season?
Yeah, hands down. I think the only quarterback that can make a push with him is Keon Jenkins out of FIU, but he doesn't have the proven weapons around him yet, which I think will help Caden be the top QB in the conference.
I'll have KT clip this at one point later on, but I think Caden Veldkamp can be the Tyler Shuck of this year's draft class.
Yeah,
Because I think he's real. He's his coach and his coach Kitley's over there now, right? So
Mhm.
that offense is gonna be high
Yep.
flying. We've already seen what him and Eastern Mesa could do at Western Kentucky. I think Caden Veldkamp is about to just take off, and you're about to see a Tyler Shuck type year for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Which school replaces Texas State in the Sun Belt Conference in 2026?
All right, so this one I kind of went down the rabbit hole. I could name a handful of schools, honestly, and I probably will. If you want to stay FBS, you go La Tech. I think that makes the most sense. Just keep all the Louisiana schools in the same conference. You put La Tech in the West, which Texas State is leaving. Just easy, smooth transition. But I think honestly they should add 4, 6 schools, make it one of the bigger G5 schools. So you could still add La Tech, but then you add Eastern Kentucky and Austin Pay, Charleston Southern, who is an affiliate with the conference already through volleyball, so that could be an easy transition. Mercer, who I think is an upcoming program, and same with Central Arkansas. So that way it kind of gives Arkansas State another team that they could play.
I some of those teams I'm with it. I do think that a team that could kind of fall under the radar is Middle Tennessee State. I feel like they're a team that's kind of in the conversations. They were in that conversation. Maybe they go to the Pac-12. They're also a team there that they could steal Memphis' sunshine, because I think Memphis is going to be coming back up in that conversation for the next Pac-12 team. But yeah, I think Middle Tennessee State could be a team that could join the summer. But I love making a big G5 conference. Let's put a couple of these conferences together and let's make them bigger, because that's the only way you're really going to be able to contend with the big dogs in the end. You're going to have to, fight fire with fire. All right. 2026 Butkus Award winner will be.
So I got it as a three horse race right now. I'm starting Wheat Wicks, LSU, had 125 tackles, 10 for a loss, 3.5 sacks. I'm going Jack Kelly out of BYU. All freshman Big 12, 51 tackles, 10 for loss, 5 sacks. And then my number 3, Jason Henderson out of Old Dominion, coming off an injury, but in 23, 170 tackles, 19.5 for loss, 4.5 sacks. If he can duplicate that, yes, it's at a smaller school, but I mean, no other middle linebacker or linebacker in general is going to touch those numbers.
No, you're right. But if we dive a little bit deeper, I'm a Jason Henderson fan, and me and SC went through this guy. 136 tackles. It was like 56 of them solo. He just happens to be around the mess. So that's true. Another thing you kind of got to watch out when you look at that. But first guy you mentioned was
Whit Weeks.
Love it. Absolute dog. Not this, the white linebacker that goes out there and just goes bananas. But they bring in, Patrick Ryan from Florida State. Harold Perkins is healthy now.
Will be healthy. Yeah.
Is he going to be able to still eat like that? Maybe, because everybody else will be drawing the coverage. He might even have a better season.
So that's the reason why I didn't put Anthony Hill on my list, because I think they have too many dogs up front and behind him who could eat at his numbers. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
All right. The first pick in the 2026 NFL draft will be.
Ooh.
I took a curveball at you later.
Yeah. I'm going to go. It's obviously going to be quarterback. Just because that's the way it's going. I think it is.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Give me a little. I'll come back to that one.
All right, last one.
Let me think.
Name one college football forgotten player
of all time.
Not of all time, just a forgotten player that people just like. If you brought him up, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy." I know you want to say him. And he's an Iowa guy. I know you want to say it.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away. I could name 2 out of the state of Iowa.
But there's one that's got relevancy that's coming back coaching that I thought you were going to say.
Oh, no.
High school coach coming back to Iowa City.
Yeah, I could say that. I mean, he's the number I wore because of him through all my sports. So I'll go with that. Tim Dwight, you could
Yeah,
obviously say, eighth place in the Heisman solely off of punt returning, not too
crazy,
shabby.
crazy.
Another Hawkeye, Brad Banks, Seneca Wallace is kind of,
Ooh, I love that dude. That dude was
or
nasty.
Sage Rosenfeld, two from Iowa State. Those two quarterbacks kind of kept them, or Troy Davis even from Iowa State, 2,000-yard rusher. So
I got a guy that his whole family was nasty. They all had crazy nicknames, but since Notre Dame's kind of been on a hot ticket lately, I'm gonna go Rocket Ishmael. You want to talk about a guy that was, you said Tim Dwight was special teamer, but this dude was, when they say Rocket, it was for a reason. I mean, it was him, his brother Quadri, which I think was the missile, right? It was the rocket, the missile, and maybe the cannon or something. I don't know. There was three of them, and they all had some kind of speedy nickname, dude. They were unbelievable. But Rocket Raheem Israel was I thought the better of all three of them. I think Quadri might have played a little bit longer in the NFL, as weird as that was.
yeah.
But yeah, he was electric. He was like a Reggie Bush type player before Reggie Bush kind of was there. But yeah, Rocket Ishmael seems to be a forgotten guy. Like, you see Devin Hester's highlights come up in the Dante Halls, but I mean, Rocket Ishmael was an absolute dog when it came to college.
Oh yeah. All right, I got your NFL draft.
All right, number one pick.
It all depends on who's picking. So I'm going to give you two just because I think they'll be works. I was going to be either Cade, if it's anybody other than the Saints picking first.
Okay.
If it's the Saints, I think they go nepotism, and I think Nuss gets picked.
All right. Okay. Keeping it at home, keeping it in Louisiana. All right. So it's
with the top defender being Peter Woods. He would be my only other guy.
As of right now.
As of right now, yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that. I mean, I think it's going to be a up and down for the first 7 weeks of the season. I don't know what we're going to do here, but yeah, I think Cade's probably going to be the first guy off the board if I had to go right now.
Yeah.
All right, that concludes Rapid Fire. This is a section I'm kind of excited to get into because I've been talking about this gentleman for a couple of years now. Me and you have been fans of his. We're just waiting for him to get his moment, and I honestly didn't think that like him getting his moment this year or at this school was going to be the moment. But this guy I don't think needs a step. I think he's ready to go. Sacramento State football, man, they have been on fire, D, now for the last 10 months. $250 million football stadium has been announced. That's in the works, right? Close to $50 million of schools raising NIL money. Again, Brennan Mary, coming over UNLV, the go-go offense, 65 plus plays per game. They got the 55th ranked 2026 recruiting class in the FBS included. Like, that is insane. Sacramento State, like, they asked to join the FBS in 2026. They kind of got shut down per se. I think that they may get to talk about it again in a little bit. And then just this week, 4-star wide receiver 2026 class, Xavier McDonald. I think he's the top 10 or top 12 wide receiver in the class. He committed to Sacramento State. Dino, that's a lot to kind of talk to, and we'll get into some of these guys that they just knocked down in the transfer portal as well. Yeah. But my guy here is cooking. Like, he sees Salt banging it up. Like, it's crazy. He pulled up this week in the lime green Corvette to the Lambo. It might have been. I don't know what it was, but it was a sports car, lime green to the stadium. I think Brendan Marion is cooking a Deion Sanders like type year for Sacramento State. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Like you said, we've been high on this guy. You actually turned me on to him. And since then, I've been super high on him. I love the go-go offense. It's exciting to watch. Obviously, the players are buying in. They think it's exciting. Like, big name recruits and transfer portal guys are flocking there just because of how exciting it is. And you said it's exciting like Prime was. I think he has the potential to eclipse Prime right away. I'm all on this. Just with the names that they're pulling in, they could like make a serious run in the FCS. Like, And we'll see week 1. They play South Dakota State. We'll see how the season's really gonna, if they're a pretender or a contender, which I'm excited about.
On the road, and then Nevada the
Yeah,
following week on the road,
yeah.
which I think both games they are in it the whole way.
Oh, they
If
could
not
win either. Yeah.
winners, I don't know what we got out of the kid. Okay, I really don't know. But Jaden Rashada is going to be that quarterback. You're
You
looking at,
think?
I,
You think?
I think so. I think
You don't
he's.
think Cardell Williams pushes him? I think Williams could seriously push him.
I think he's there to push him, and maybe it is a quarterback battle. But I'm going to go with the fact that we're looking at a kid that was almost a 5-star, okay, in his class, that hasn't shown the talent, and I think this is the last spot. If anybody's going to get it out of him, I think Brendan Marion's going to get it out of him. I think this offense might kind of fit him. I think this might have been what Malachi Nelson kind of needed to get to, was this type of offense.
Yeah.
I think Cardell Williams, going into spring camp, might have been a little bit sharper. I don't know what. Like, it's been real hush-hush about what they're doing out there, but
Which I like.
they brought in 2 veteran running backs, Rodney Hampton and Savion Red. And Savion Red gets to go home, go play Nevada the second week after he was almost 1,000 yards. I think he was 1,000 yards for them last year. So he's probably going to go off. Marion took 2 or 3 wide receivers from UNLV. Yes, they weren't starters, but they were like, I think, number 3 and 4 on the team. So they were going to be the next guys up. They went with him. I mean, he's got guys from Maryland, Texas A&M.
Oh yeah. Like Campbell, wide receiver from A&M. I mean, if Hall can get his head on straight too.
Ajee Hall, like he was
Yeah.
recruited with Texas. This was another 5-star kid. Like, they have talent. And I mean, they went out and got 2 top-tier tight ends. I think Logan Tanner out of San Diego State, and there was another kid. Where is he? Out of Utah, Bertini. So like they got talent all along. He's got some big boys up front. They have, like you said, a favorable schedule. If you look at the schedule here, right? They play at South Dakota, at Nevada to start the season. Then 1, 2, 3 games at home against Mercyhurst, Central Arkansas, Cobb Valley. I think they can win all 3 of those games easily. Week off at Weber State. I think that's a win. Northern Colorado, Montana might be a tough game, and Eastern Washington as well. But then I think they win those games at Portland State, Idaho Vandals, at UC Davis to close it out. That's a battle right there. UC Davis battles everybody, especially at the end of the season. But I think this is a 10-win team.
Yeah. So I think we said season starts off tough. South Dakota State, Nevada. If they can split those,
perfect.
Win, I think they're a 10-win team easily.
Yes.
If they drop both of them, I could see 8 or 9, just because I think either Montana gets them potentially, or like you said, UC Davis, just because they play everyone tough. They'll drop one of those 2, I think. But yeah, 10 wins isn't out of the realm of a possibility.
No, not at all. And then, I mean, last year, what did they finish in last year? Let me take a look here. I'm pretty sure last year was they had 3 wins last year. Okay, so and they had that's what it was, a dogfight again to end the season against UC Davis. They ended up losing by 3 points in that game. So like, you end the year with 5 straight losses and a 3-point heartbreaker to your rival, and then you go out and you start cooking and you get yourself a legitimate hot commodity coach. You get yourself some big name kids through the portal. You start recruiting your ass off, bro. I just don't see how FBS can deny them. If
I think this year is going to be the true test. If they can live up to the expectations, 9, 10, maybe even more games, I think it's going to be okay. You can move up. Potentially, even the Pac-12 decides, hey, let's add them like they want.
That's where they want to go, and I think that's a perfect spot for them.
Oh, it's perfect, yeah. I could honestly see them being a top-tier Pac-12 team year 1 that they're in it. But I think this year will be the test. Be like, okay, is Coach Marion legit? Is this offense worth anything? If they make a deep run into the playoffs, I could see 27, maybe 28 being their first year up.
And I know we don't cover other sports, but I think the fact that, they are cooking outside of football. It's going to drum up. Dude, they brought in Mike Bibby as their basketball coach, right? And then a month later, Shaq says he's the GM. He's going to be the GM of the team. Bro, I mean, Nagy's the GM of Oklahoma Sooners, and we see what his impact's going to be for them. What do you think Shaquille O'Neal's going to do to Sacramento State? And then they get a transfer from UCF that was a dude, four-star kid that comes over. So, like, it's not just football. What they're building over there is a legitimate, culture, and everybody's buying in. Not just the students, not just the athletes, the higher ups, the teachers, the ads. These guys are all bought in, and I think you're about to see a big movement in Sacramento State. Watch out! I agree. I think they get 10 wins, and I think they make it deep in that playoff because you said it's like a March Madness. You know what I mean? Top 24 teams, and let's rock. I think if they have momentum with his offense, he can wear defenses down. That's the thing. That many plays, you're running a play every 5-6 seconds. Those D lines aren't ready for that shit. No way. Like, and they haven't really seen much of that. Look at what North Dakota State and South Dakota State do. That's what they do, right? Mm-hmm. Go type offenses, and they've been dominant for the last 5 to 8 years. So I think Sacramento State has found something here, and I think these kids are bought in. And a lot of these kids are bought in because they're hungry, didn't get their shot, maybe their last shot. I'm going to this is my audition to get back to where I needed to be, or this is my audition to kind of be like, hey, he didn't have it. Things happen, but look what happened with the right opportunity. So,
yeah, absolutely. And like with sports, everyone wants immediate success, coaches wise, whatever. If this president or whoever is in charge of the athletics there can be patient 3-4 years and really just help these coaches kind of do what they're already doing just to the next level.
Right.
I don't see it being out of the possibility. Sacramento State could be the number 3, potentially even the number 2 school in all of California, like for athletics. I'm not saying they're going to be USC level right up in 5 years, but
right.
I mean, they could easily catch and surpass Stanford because they're down right now. Cal's kind of down right now. And then UCLA is kind of just flip-flop every other year. So they could easily be the 3, potentially even the 2 school basketball and football-wise in that state.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think they're about to stamp the Hornets go logo and sting everybody with it. And they're all trying to make a name for themselves. Like, all of these guys are kind of like first-year coaches under Marion. Like, he didn't go out. He wants to do it his own way. And he brought a lot of young guys coming in. Got, a lot of Texas coach, a kid from UTEP, right? And then defensive coordinator, kind of an older guy, right? But he's got some experience at Colorado State. Marcus Patton coming in. So he's got the experienced guy coming in. And then a lot of these guys are getting their first-year run as OC, as, whatever, maybe running backs coach, quarterbacks coach. I love what they got going on there. I love that it's falling under the radar. Like when Prime went, I know it's Prime. I know Brennan Marion isn't even close to being in that thing, but like it took off. When Chadwell went to Liberty, that was took off. I don't think people understand what Brennan Marion did for Texas Longhorns football, and then what he did for UNLV in a very short amount of time. I know a lot of people say Barry Odom. I bet you if you ask Barry Odom what the value of Brennan Marion is, he'd tell you he belongs in the SEC, the Big Ten. Like, he's got the caliber to do that. So people are about to witness that right now. You're about to witness like a Garrett Riley type season at TCU. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
I'm excited, and I don't know why they denied him off the rip. Like, I don't know why there's a hesitant to bring them on, like to see what they, especially
maybe
with,
because of like the last couple of years, they've
James
won.
Madison came on, right? You brought James Madison.
James Madison played in national championships prior to them coming up.
That's true.
Sacramento State hasn't.
And who was the other team though? There was the same year that
Sam Houston.
Again,
they were a deep playoff team every single year.
FBS and on the FCS level. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sacramento State.
So they had proven records, those 2 schools.
Gotcha. All right. Well, now I kind of see the hesitation because it hasn't been much of anything.
That's why I think this year will be the test year.
Yeah, they get double digits and they're in this playoff. I don't think that you can deny these guys, especially with the noise they're making all around in the athletic department.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting here, okay? Because I'll have to eat crow. I really didn't think that Kalen DeBoer would be able to spin it around. I was one guy that said, he wouldn't last longer than Nick Saban's, final recruiting class. But it looks as though he's got that magic dust. You know what I mean? Because for his 2026 recruiting class, he's already got 5 5-stars, 9 4-stars. But Marcus Freeman says, hold the phone, my man. He's got 2 5-stars. He has 21 4-stars. And not to nothing, but the caliber of names that Marcus Freeman is bringing in there. You got, Jermichael Finley's kid, Plaxico Burris' son, Larry Fitzgerald's son, Thomas Davis Sr.'s son is all in there. I think Jerome Bennett's kid was there. I'm still believe it's there. I know Urlach's son transferred out this year. But you're getting NFL pedigree. Like, these kids want to go that weren't there to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these kids, Steph Otis didn't go to that school. Larry Fitzgerald went to Pitt. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of these dudes didn't go there, and they want to take on the Irish, legacy. So let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, Alabama has been kind of crushing it. A lot of their bigger names though are on the defensive side, and it seems a lot of the bigger names for Notre Dame seem to be on the offensive side, which is odd to me a little bit, it seems. But talk to me. Who do you think right now, which class right now, would you rather have? And are you surprised at the success that Kalen DeBoer is having after year one at Alabama?
I'll start with the surprised question first. No, I'm not surprised. I think if you look at it, it can be chalked up to an uptick in difficulty. I mean, he played in then the Pac-12 where defense wasn't really a thing. And prior to that, it was Sioux Falls, I want to say, or he was a coordinator.
Right.
So I'm not surprised. He's a proven winner wherever he goes. I think just it was a little bit of a culture shock coming into the SEC year one. First year without his guy who he's had Grubbs for forever. So there's also that. But looking at the numbers, I mean, if we're basing it solely off the numbers, Bama obviously has a better class, more 5-stars. But, we both talk about it every time on Debbie. We don't really trust the ranking system.
Right.
So I just threw that out there just numbers wise. But if I had to pick one of the classes, I'm honestly going to go with Notre Dame's. I like theirs better. Just because I feel there's a higher chance of seeing a lot of these kids on the field year one than there is with Alabama. Like, if we look at Alabama's, sure, some of their edges may play because Overton's going to go pro.
Correct.
So like Griffin or Gibson may see the field. But I mean, like, their best quarterback is Jet Tamala, who
just committed. He just committed
from Iowa State. Yeah,
right.
He's not going to see the field because they got Russell that came in. So
Correct.
You're years away from seeing him. So I mean, like, that's what I'm talking about. I don't see a lot of them making immediate impacts right away. Where if we look at Notre Dame's, I could see a Preston Frizzell being tight end 2 for Notre Dame. I could see Devin Fitzgerald making a run. Like, let's say Malachi Fields gets hurt or something. They need another big body, or he'll be gone. I'm sorry. Cam Williams gets hurt. They need another taller wide receiver. Fitzgerald jumps in there. Or even Thomas
Finley.
Finley even. And Thomas Davis Jr. could be a sub linebacker year one for him.
100%. He's a dude.
So,
6'2", 205.
Yeah. And I mean, his dad was a brick wall. Like, no one was breaking his tackles. So if he's half the player his dad was, I mean, you get him on the field day one. So that's why I would go with Notre Dame's class over Alabama's. Like I said, just because I see a lot more of them making impacts earlier on in their careers than a lot of the Bama guys.
Yeah, I mean, Joey O'Brien and Kyrie Adams are probably going to be a starting secondary for Notre Dame as freshmen because they're that good. Joey O'Brien is an absolute dog. And then you still have Ian Prima.
Yeah.
at tight end. So you're coming in with two 4-star tight ends, in this class alone. And again, and in the back end, Aiden Pouncey at safety, like 6'3", 165 pounds, speed, crazy football IQ. I just think,
And I mean, like if we use last year after the championship game, every starter from Notre Dame left. So if they have
right,
another season like this, I
here we
mean, you got
go.
Ben Nichols, Grayson McKeon, like just sub these big guys in right away. I'm baptism by fire. But 2-3 years down the road, they're going to be all Americans, potential first round picks, just because that's what
100%.
Notre Dame does.
Right. Jeremiah Love's gone. Right. He's
Oh
gone
yeah,
after this year. And we've seen the success in running
and then
backs
you
they've
plug in
had.
Osborne right away.
Yes,
Like
Javion Osborne is no slouch. He can
yeah,
get it done. 6 foot, 200 pounds is what we love. We love those numbers. Like, and
yeah.
I think this kid can absolutely slide right into that role. So I think their recruiting class is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not hating on Alabama. I have to eat crow on both of these guys. I thought at some point both of these guys might be on the hot seat, and they said, "Yeah, you can take your hot seat and throw it out the window, buddy. I'm here to stay, and I'm actually going to be contending, for Natty real soon." Nolan Wilson, I think he's going to be an absolute dog for Bama, right? And obviously, Zion Gibson is an extreme athlete, can play both ways. But I'm going to go Notre Dame in this class, and it's exciting to see how it's kind of like a heavyweight fight. Bama gets one, Notre Dame gets one, right? Or Notre Dame will flip a guy, Bama flips a guy. Like they just been going back and forth over the last 35 to 65 days. So it'll be interesting to see down the pipeline, as the season goes, which ones got it right. All right, D. Now I know this bothers you as much as it bothers me because we have been advocates of just one freaking window, and now we're given a third window. Okay. So as of today through, I believe, August 5th, anyone designated student athlete has a 30-day window to enter the transfer portal with no restrictions. And their contract, NIL, all of that is null and void. They are pretty much a free agent to go and do whatever they want. The deadline, I believe, is to become a DSN. It was Sunday that just passed. So yesterday was the last. Now we haven't had a list of it, so we don't really know yet. That hasn't been revealed. Right. My question to you is: A, does this open a can of worms and make this dream of ours to have a one portal window kind of elongated and not shortened? And does the can of worms open with some guys that were buddy with coaches that just couldn't make the cut, or they think that they, or be the guy, or going to be, not going to be the 2, they're going to be the 3, but the coach really liked them, recruited them. Are they going to get these DSAs so that they can scoop and go on to the next league? Like, are we going to get some favoritism here with this stuff? Because it's unlimited amount. There is no limit to the amount of DSAs you can give. So what are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, I'm going to start with everything the NCAA does nowadays opens a can of worms.
Yes.
So
yeah.
obviously can of worms has been opened, but on the hindsight, it could help a lot of players if done right.
Right.
So the goal is, like we were saying, a lot of these guys at the bottom of the roster get a chance to go elsewhere. And what's nice is that the players don't have a say in it. I think that's what slows this down. A lot of this is it's all at the school's discretion. They designate who's at the bottom. So it's like you won't see like the Jalen Rashadas transferring for the 4th time because he loses a quarterback battle. It's like, no, you have to suck it up and now you're the backup if that's the case. So that's the good part about it. And other than it being a third transfer window, I really don't see a glaring negative to this. Like I said, it just gives a lot of chance to players to still live out that dream of being a college football star or athlete. So if done right, I see it as a positive, except for the timing. I wish it was like a month earlier.
Well,
it's going to be in the summer.
I don't think that they could push it any earlier because of the spring can't you know what I mean? Because
Well,
they're
I
gonna
mean,
have some
then
camp
that
to
comes
be
back down
designated
to
whether
the
you would
one
be.
transfer portal. Other
Yeah,
than
this is it's just every time I feel like we're getting closer to the one window, something stupid happens.
yeah,
Like I understand the whole thing. If I'm committed to a school because that coach went there and then the coach quits or retires or gets fired for whatever it may be, I understand opening it back up for 30 days. I get it. Okay. But as we saw last year, the door just keeps opening.
yeah,
It seems to never close. Like we were right down to almost the start of the season, and it's like, yo, what are we doing here? Like we can't have this. So yes, I think if done right in the same aspect that you're saying, it could be good for that. We won't have walk-ons pretty much anymore,
yeah.
unfortunately, right? So like those kids are kind of screwed. I mean, because they'll be the last batch of walk-ons. Maybe this will work for them for that last hoorah. But going forward, there won't be many walk-ons. It'll be that fourth and fifth string kid that was in the SEC, in the Big Ten, that's been there for 2-3 years and hasn't got any playing time. But this is so. I feel like they're feeding the G5.
Yeah, essentially.
So
Maybe
what are we
that's
doing with the
their
G5
thought
then?
process of the only way to keep the G5
Fed, right? So
Yeah.
this is kind of like being like a B division, right? These kids are because I don't think that the guy who's played for Texas Tech for 3 seasons and saw 2 snaps that got to be a designated student athlete is going to Alabama to stop next year.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But he could go to Toledo and be a dude, right?
Yeah.
So like we just it's everything that the NCAA seems to be doing seems to be wanting to eliminate the G5 or make them at a lower level, and then you come out with this. Like, it's so odd. And another thing, when are we going to get finalization on these guys for that like extended Diego Paiva like deal? Because there's still guys. I think the guy from South Carolina is still waiting on Fazul is still waiting on a. But we can get a 30-day window for designated student athletes, but we can't figure out when we're going to give. Let's get one thing done first before we go on to the next. It's almost like it's a popularity contest. They need to be in the news at all times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The timing of this was a crap show. They should have waited to pull this out until next season instead of like 2 weeks until the deadline to do it. So
Right.
I'm with you 100% there. Yeah.
This is why the shystiness to me, man. This is why I feel like you might get a guy that was a 3-star, 4-star that for lack I know he performed, but like maybe a Mario Williams type guy. Like he was a 5-star coming out and he never kind of lived up to the hype. Could he have maybe convinced Oklahoma to DSA him after that second year? Or you know what I'm saying? Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, DSA me and then I'm out. And you don't owe me no money, obviously. I don't owe you nothing. It didn't work here. But I got a guy that'll get me on the starting lineup right now. Because I feel like you're going to get more of this, like, backdooring. Like, hey, what do you think the chances of you being DSA? Do you think, if you get DSA'd, I'll come right down. Come here. Come to Kent State. Come to Bowling Green. You know what I mean? And, come to Liberty, and you make your O-lineman 1 for us. We need a guy. We just had a guy go down. Like, I feel like you're going to see more and more of the dirty hands in the pot type shit.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I could give you another example. Big name guy who could have potentially done this, Bear Alexander.
Right.
I mean, he was almost essentially kicked off 2 different teams. He would have been a prime candidate to be.
When you get kicked off a team, right? Is that a neon flag for the next team?
100%.
And then you get kicked off that team.
But he's 6'5", 270, and can hit a quarterback.
And somehow Dan Lanning has, the magic dust because the guy's in the best physical shape of his life that we saw already. So I don't know. It's odd. The timing sucks. I don't really like it. It works out for the kids. I guess it's better for the D1 athletes. I understand that, but it's just I want one window, and I want to eliminate the dirtiness, the hand, the backdooring, the conniving, and I feel like this kind of just adds more to the fuel to the fire. But I guess Governor Baker and AAA do as they will, and will continue to do as they will.
This is why we need one body, like we talked, commissioner. Yeah,
Nick, baby, come on, Nick, let's
Yeah.
go. Get a couple people. You know a couple guys. Make a couple phone calls. All you got to do is say the word. If you went on national television and said something, oh my goodness, that's all it's got to do.
Everyone would be all about it, just because of all the crap that the NCAA's done. Like, just
I got one
figure out some stuff.
out of pocket question for you, and it's just because they seem to consistently be landing these dudes. And I said that they were my sleeper Big 12 team. What's going on with BYU, bro?
Dude, I don't know. So
Retzlaff hasn't left yet, right? He hasn't entered the transfer portal. As of this morning, he has no paperwork into the transfer portal.
So I wonder, since it got settled, if
there's no 7 games. It's 7 games because he said he had sex. He had consensual sex.
Right,
That breaks the honor code, so he's got to sit 7 games.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, does the honor code void his NIL money? Like, if he's sitting these 7 games, is he getting paid? Or does he have to lose the money?
Man. Is he a senior?
Yeah.
Then if I was the boosters, I'd be like, nah, let's go spend this on the next big recruit. Let's go get Ryder another weapon. So
They just got 3 dudes.
Another weapon.
They got 2 top in the 2026 class. They got 2 top tight end wide receiver athletes.
Yeah. Or let's go steal someone and get AJ DeBansa a running back.
Get him a guy on the other side. It's insane what they're building.
Oh, well, that's why I said they're going to win a national championship within 5 years.
If they continue to build in the Bruins this, I don't know.
Ryder wins a national championship while he's there.
If they can keep him there, I am aware of some of the ink on the paperwork. Okay, so I think that they can keep him there, right? Because they took him away from Dan Lanning, and that wasn't an easy thing because Dan wanted him bad.
Yeah.
So
I think he wins one while he's there.
I think that I think you're going to see. You are about to watch the transfer portal to BYU next year. It's going to be insane. Provo
I think it starts this year with basketball. I think basketball has a good chance to run with AJ for the entire thing. And I think if they can win that, their basketball program's going to explode even more. And then that's going to feed into, they're going to use that as their recruiting pitch for all the football guys. Be like, look at this environment. Now imagine our football team is in the playoffs, hosting a home playoff game. All these people are going to be there. The Mormons got them deep pockets. And so they're just going to shell it out for all their guys. It's like, what kid's not going to want to play in a massive whiteout, home in the playoffs, while also getting millions? I memean,
it's insane what they're doing.
It's a giant, and it's starting to wake up.
Bro, their offense, if Retzlaff returns, okay, that's like 89%. I'm not a return of production guy, but this is a production that was good.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean? And you have a healthy LJ Martin. You saw the connection between Chase and Retzlaff. Okay, so we take Retzlaff out of the picture. Say he can't play. What's his name? Hilstead? He didn't play very bad for Utah State in the spotty games that he played.
Yeah, he can manage the game enough where they don't lose it.
And Bourgat is still there. Bourgat, we saw a flash for like a game and a half out of him, right, in his college career. So I think they could hand it off. They have you know me. I'm an advocate on Carson Ryan. I've been pounding the table on Carson Ryan. And in the green room, we talked about our guy, Swanson comes back the year that Ryder Lyons will be there. So they're going to have a huge tight end, 2 kids, one on each end. They're going to have a solid wide receiver room. That O-line is all juniors, 1 senior returning. So they'll have another year with that big production up front. Defensively, linebacker room's always been good. And they always have a dude in that secondary. Yeah, right. And they always have a dude in that secondary that's a snot-nosed hitter. You always have to look out for him. What they're doing in Provo is absolutely crazy in a short amount of time to turn around. NIL is crazy. But it's crazy how schools like that. That's what I love to see with the NIL. Schools like that were kind of just out of it because they didn't have the pocket, right?
Mhm.
They just didn't have it to give to these kids. Well, now that the NIL has to kind of be even for everybody, you know what I mean? Everybody in a bigger conference.
Right.
Look what's happened. Like these guys are starting to see the success with a coach who's unorthodox of his style of coaching, right? It's not this, veer and shoot, spread it out, pick up. Like he ground and pound, and then we're gonna one off to play action and running the ball. So I'm super excited. Like, I don't remember Andy had that Utah show, and like I was starting to dive into BYU just because I helped produce them, and now to see what they're doing and the success they had last year, and man, if somehow they can figure this Rhett Slaff thing out. Maybe only give him 3.5 games. Say, hey, man, and people make mistakes, whatever it may be. And he plays, man, watch out. I think that they are a driving force. And if Hillstead can just kind of guide the wheel, dude, don't do more than we need you to do. You looking at the schedule?
I am.
It's rough to start. They need dubs off the rip. It gets better at the end.
So I think they can beat. Obviously, they'll beat Portland State.
Yeah.
I think they'll beat Stanford. I think they'll beat Eastern Carolina. So that's 3. If he can only sit out those 3, they got a good shot. But if he has to sit out 7, that's
the
where
meat and potatoes is the next 4 games.
Yeah. Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona, Utah. That would be Game 7 versus Utah. So
I think with Retzlaff against Colorado, they have a chance.
Oh, 100%.
But his style of play, the way that they have to account for, you have to have a linebacker spying them. Or if you're not going to have the linebacker, you got to bring a safety down in the box at all times because he can smoke you with his legs, right? And the pocket's it's huge because he can move all the way around. And then you have to count for a healthy LJ Martin, who on a delay or a counter can just knock the shit out of you and put you on your ass and then take off for 10. So that team has the weapons, and
so realistically, I think they could win every single game. But they definitely need Retzlaff versus Colorado and Utah.
Yeah, especially with Dampier, Utah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be. But that's going to be the one. They could be battling that for Big 12.
That'll be like a game day, big noon kickoff.
Yeah. And is that what's that, week 7?
Yeah. 7 or 8, yeah.
That's almost like conference championship type game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just had to throw that in at the end because BYU is cooking just as much.
I got a follow-up question for you.
All right, good.
All right, so you threw the NFL draft twist at me. So my follow-up to that, does Arch stay true to his word and stay all 4 years?
Yeah, I think Arch Manning is on the Eli Manning plan. And he said
Even if, let's say they go to the national championship game.
Yes.
Because if he came out, he would probably be the number 1 pick.
Right, and I think that's what every team is thinking, especially New Orleans.
Yeah.
Come see with Grandpa, right? You could take over Grandpa's legacy. But he said it as a freshman. Like, kind of just low-key said it. I know everybody, including my guy Jake Crane, said he's got the hood on his back because the hood is accepted Arch. So, like, it's Arch year. And that's cool. He might have a year. But I just think they put him with Shark for a reason. They put him at Texas for a reason. He went to a program where he didn't have to start.
Yeah.
Right.
Which he needed to help him long term.
Right.
Yeah.
He needed some things that he needed to work on. And
we even saw it last year. There were some things he still needed to work on.
Last year, what was his best highlight? What was the best thing that you can remember from him in his games that he played? The 65-yard takeoff run.
Yeah.
Like it was his legs that you remembered more than there wasn't a holy shit throw on Arch Manning.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So not that he can't do it, and not that he's top in his class or the dude. I just think he hasn't proven it yet, and I don't think that he's going to prove all of it in one season. I think he may have a few questions like Cade did at the end of the last season. Like we saw him ball out, but there was like, all right, we saw it, but now I need to see it fully. When Arch goes off.
So play devil's advocate. He's got some games against some guys who he would be
competition.
Against.
Yeah.
So let's say Ohio State goes out there, 350, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Still thinks he's staying.
Well, I mean, if that's the only game he had, that
No,
was.
I'm gonna go. Keep going. So
If that's the level that he's on,
week 1,
right?
and then so obviously if he stays for all 4 years, he's gonna probably be battling DJ Lagway, which they play this year against each other. So let's say again he throws for like 275, 2 touchdowns, but he's got a pick. DJ Lagway balls out. You still think he's higher than DJ?
I never had Arch at 1.
Okay, no, that's fair.
So I don't. Do I have him in the top 3? Yes. Because for me there was always these questions like his arm.
No, I'm with you 100%. He was only the top-rated quarterback solely because of his last name.
There's talent there. Like
no,
he's got
I'm not
talent.
saying he's not talented, but he was only that high because he's a Manning.
I think so. I truly think so. I've seen some tape from high school. I've seen some like the tape I've analyzed at Texas. I think he needs a little bit of work. And now, granted, if he comes down and goes 375, 3 touchdowns against Ohio State, that's the top defense in the nation.
Yeah,
right?
that's why I was asking. Like,
then I want to
what's
see
it
what
gonna
happens
take
to
for him
follow.
come out?
Oh, do you just get too big for your britches and go 265 and 2-2? Because if
he
you're
does
going
that against San Jose State, then yeah, he needs to stay.
well, that's what I'm saying. If you go for 375 and 3 against Ohio State, you better give me 505, bro, against San Jose State.
Like, no, 100%.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I need 4 games. I would be able to give you a better answer if he's gonna. Oh, I truly think he's gonna go on after like 4 or 5 games.
Okay, so to follow up, 2026, who are your top 3 quarterbacks for the draft?
This draft,
let's say everyone stays. Let's say everyone stays for their senior year, no juniors.
DJ. Arch would. I guess I'll have Arch at 2. And
does a guy like John Mateer sneak into your top 3?
He's gone.
He's only a junior.
He's gone
this year. He'll be a senior next year.
I don't think he'll.
I'm saying assume everyone stays. Does a guy like John Mateer sneak into your top 3?
Yeah, 100%. He'd have to. He would have to, because he's gonna have stupid numbers.
Yeah,
this year alone at Oklahoma. No, I'm going Dylan Raiola, bro.
He'll only be a junior, but
he's in the same class as Lagway, though. It's the same class.
I guess you're right. But okay, either way.
That's it. So Arch is a different class. Arch is
a different
23.
class, yeah.
That's right. All right, hold on. So because you had mentioned DJ. Nah, bro, because I got a dark horse that I think it's going to be the QB1 off the board.
Who's that?
Dante Moore, baby. I think Dante Moore is a dark horse Heisman.
This year?
This year. I think he's a dark horse Heisman without Evans to it.
All right.
And I think that he could possibly be better than Arch. If we're talking about if he checks all the boxes, yeah. Everybody else
off here correctly, I could see that.
Yeah, because everybody else in the class, I don't think has figured it out yet. Aiden Childs hasn't figured it out yet. Avery Johnson hasn't figured it out yet.
I hate to be negative. I understand he followed his coach. Michigan State Aiden Childs messed up there.
Yeah, I mean Eli Holston could.
Eli, yeah,
he could mess around and find himself in that
quarterback, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying he could definitely. Sam Levitt, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's in the same class. He went to Michigan State, now at Arizona State. I mean, he puts back-to-back years together. Doesn't come out this season and stays. Like, because you're going to have Garrett, you're going to have Cade, right? If Lascelles takes off.
It'd be smart for a lot of these younger underclassmen who could go pro to stay one more year. This class is way too deep, I feel like, to come out early, unless you blow the doors off.
I got a super deep dark horse, and it might be a homer pick. But if he wins the job this year and lights it up, Dylan Longerin. You're going with a four-star kid. We're supposed to be Alabama's guy, right? And O'Brien got him. Super dark horse, right? But a name that, like, hey, watch out, because if he already beat out, if he's beating out Grayson James, now you're going to get a year under his belt, and then the next year is when he can just attack it. SEC wanted him. Alabama had him. You know what I mean? So, like, kid like that is something you have to watch out. But I think Dante Moore could end up beating out Arch for that QB1 in that class.
Depending on how these 2 years go, I wouldn't be surprised if Gio Lopez shoots up some boards too, depending on how Bill handles it.
This is the reason why I say this about Dante is he has everything that you want, just like Arch, right? Everything that they say about Arch, I think Dante has, outside of the legs. Right? He may not be as fast or be able to take on the hit like, Arch can. But if he takes that level and puts himself in this top 5 or in that Heisman talk this year, and then gets Evan Stewart back, with the experience of Decorian Moore and the rest of that room,
Dickey, if he finally takes off,
Sadiq at the tight end, like, dude, Malachi Hughes there. I don't know if he'd be gone, but like, if
Casper, if he finally takes off,
watch out, dude. Watch out. A lot of people sleeping on how it didn't work out off the rip for Dante Moore. But if you recall the buzz, he was right there with Arch as being that guy. Like, it was Jackson Arnold, Arch Manning, and Dante Moore. Those were the 3 names that everybody was talking about.
I like how we didn't even mention Jackson Arnold.
I was just about to say, and he could turn it around this year in Auburn.
He could.
And all of a sudden, we're talking about, oh shit, there's the Gatorade Player of the Year that we will all want to see and play. That who's not just a running quarterback out in Oklahoma. This is a guy who threw for, it was a combined 50-something plus touchdowns between his legs and his arms. So, like, he's a guy. Yeah. Got a core out there. Got a good coaching staff. Probably top 3 wide receiver room in the country.
Oh yeah.
So, look, he could turn it around. He could have a big year and challenge Arch this year for the better quarterback in that class.
Yeah.
So, but I'll stick with Dante Moore. I love Jackson Arnold, but I'm gonna stick with Dante Moore. And that's not a knock to Arch, but I'm just so sick of everybody being on the Arch Manning train. I wish the kid does well, and I hope he has success, but I'm tired of hearing about it. And at this point, I almost just want to be like, see, he wasn't the one. You know what I mean? Because if we go back the last 20 classes, there's been a lot of freaking misses.
Yeah.
A lot of them, So, all right, my man, I appreciate you. It's been an absolute great episode here, filling in for the governor. Look at him. He's tuning in even when he's on the road out in Texas for Big 12 Media Days. Again, I'm Nino Brown. That's my guy, D-Now. CFP Nation, we out.
Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir.